Hey, this is Tim, or Two Ferns here. I'm going to be doing some notching today. As you can see, I already got a little bit started because I only got the idea of making the video once I'd already gotten a little ways in. So, the things that we're going to be talking today are the notch ruler, which I should have the files linked in the description to the GitHub. Yeah, and really, it's great because you just pop it in to the faceplate of your GameCube controller, and that's going to assist you in the notching process. So the files I'm using today, I'm only using 3 files. I'm using a round file, an acute triangle file, and an obtuse angle file, so kind of wider. And if I'm being honest, these two are really the main ones. You use the obtuse angle triangle file when you're first getting started and just trying to get the best shape, and use the round file to round it out at the end. So without further ado, why don't I get started? So you can see the bottom ones there. I've already started. So they are starting to match to the shape of the notch file, if you can see that there, as opposed to the top ones, which I haven't started yet. I kind of have extra plastic there. It's hard to get a good visual on a JP White, but hopefully you'll be able to see what we're going for there at the bottom, and the ones that haven't been done yet at the top. How there's a little bit of plastic that you can see to file away. So if I'm being real, once I get it into the faceplate, I don't usually like working with the center post there. They're mainly there to make sure that when you insert it the first time, that none of the support legs in the corners break off. And we were successful with that. So we've got 4 little things holding it in place while we work. So we're starting with the obtuse triangle file. And you can see already on this one that it just sort of fits into the shape of the notch. That one there. Again, I'll have the link to the files in the description. Yeah, and you really just sort of go to town filing until it matches the shape there. So we've already done those pretty well. Why don't we go on to the other ones? Try and get a bit more light. Man, it's hard to film this stuff. So we don't have to think too much at the starter step. We're just sort of matching to the shape of the gate plate, taking out a lot of material. And stopping to check every now and then that we're not doing too much in the wrong direction. This is really just to get your shape at the start here. And since the obtuse file fits naturally into the shape that we're going for, you can't mess it up too bad. Although I'm quite confident with this device after doing a couple. So I'm trying to match the angle that I'm filing with that of the notch guide. It's still plastic too, so it's going to get filed away, but it'll help provide some resistance and guidance in the direction that you're supposed to be going. Blowing out the dust so I can see what I'm doing. Oh man, I'm really not centered in the camera. Here, let's move it over. Perfect. So again, I'm not worrying too much Right now I'm just letting the guide move the file in the right direction. So leaning it against the outside of the gate and moving it up and down quickly and confidently. And we can begin to see it's matching to that shape there. So I don't usually advise that you take these gate plates on and off while you're working. I like to do all the steps of cutting out the main thing, but I'm just going to take it off now to show you what the notches are starting to look like underneath there. So you're beginning to get those really sharp little indents. They're not round like you'd see yet, but we're going to do that in a later step. You can see the top and this one over here I haven't finished yet. But you're starting to get those notches coming in. So I'm going to put the gate plate back in and keep going. I'm switching back and forth between the flat side of the obtuse angle to blend and sharpen the corners, and the angled side that matches into the notch guide. Thanks for your patience here. This is hopefully going to not end up being too long of a video. So I'm just going around with this obtuse file, making sure that it notches in nicely. And you can see I'm not having to be too careful because I am being guided by this outer edge of plastic that we've snapped in place. Though I am still taking care to stop every now and then, see that the gate's still attached nicely and that I've not filed too much in any one direction. Again, it's a little bit harder to track because we're doing this on a JP White today. It is a lot easier if you order the notch guide in a different color material than the one that you're notching. Probably better for YouTube contrast too. Hope everyone's having a good weekend like I am. Nice and sunny out there. Might go outside eventually. So we're almost all the way around the wheel, at least for our starting step. Just got these right notches to do. take it off and see how we're looking. Not too bad, a little lopsided over here, but I'm sure I'll be able to clean that up. So sometimes filing from a different angle helps sort of show you where you're missing. So we're really just trying to get those deep divot shapes that are going to hold our stick in place. And then we'll have a secondary step where we round them all out. Alright, it's not looking too bad. You can see all the individual divots starting to show up where the notches are going to be. And now we'll start rounding them out. So for that we'll switch to the round file. I think it's pretty apparent what that one does. But just sort of look at the movements that I make, because now we won't have the guide in, so we're sort of on our own. So I like to stick it into the notch, and just at the very start we're just rounding it out, making it a little bit wider and having more even corners. And always remember that you can look at the diagonals to sort of see what a normal Nintendo notch would look like. The cardinals too, but they have a bit of a weirdness to the shape right now. So look at the diagonals and try and match those sort of angles that you see in the corner of the pocket. And then I like to sort of at several different angles widen that notch, laying it quite flat and moving back and forth across all of the directions. That really starts to spread out the notch, and you can deepen it again if you feel it needs it. So a step of straight up and down to smooth it out, then at a wide angle, wide low angle, so almost flat to the face of the controller. Starting to get that shape in on that one. A bit more rounded. Now this one's sort of the hard part, is when you take the file and you slide it in towards the diagonals to smooth out that angle there. Because you're going to want to hold and slide the file away from the notch that you're making. Alright, and now we're to the point where I could probably open up Smash Scope. So let me disable this so you can see Smash Scope in the other window. We plug our fob in. Let me get this back up and this over top. Yeah, actually, let's put it all the way up at the top and in the corner. Perfect. So Smash Scope is the program we're going to be using to check out these notches today. I'll hopefully have a link in the description. Let's just get it. The sticks activated on the fob. Oops, I've got multiple dolphins open. One second. Nice. So let's load our fob motherboard into the faceplates that we're working on and see how that notch is feeling and looking. Perfect. So it's grabbing a 0.4 value when we lock into that notch. 0.26 on some of the upper ones, 2.5 on the other one, 3.3. Well, that one's a little bit close. That one's needs some more work. And one down at the bottom is pretty good. The one on its right needs to be spread out more. Yeah. So essentially you're looking at these numbers and deciding whether the notch needs to go left or right. And then accounting for that. When you go in and do your rounding step. Although I feel like doing the rounding step usually ends up with a pretty good value as long as you're able to calibrate it in Smash Scope. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. I don't know if I'll edit in at the end, but this is my notching guide. Hey there, so I'm all finished my notches now at this point. You can see that I've got a pretty good shape on all of them, so they feel nice and sound nice going into all the notches. And with the power of fob calibration, they're all very accurate too. So you can see it's more about shape and less about getting it in the exact right spot, although our notch guide here definitely helps us guide us along the way. Thanks for watching. Definitely say hi to me on Discord. Let me know how you do with these notches. If you do them differently, that's really cool. And if you're able to modify the notch ruler file to be in any way better or different, useful, let me know. Cheers. Bye.